Good afternoon, stock market fans. Welcome to Money Chat Now, brought to you by Investor Schooling. Hey, you can take a complimentary class this Thursday night at investorschooling.com, and you can learn about real estate investing, you can learn about stock options trading, you can learn about pretty much anything about money. That's investorschooling.com. I am your host today, and my name is Larry Steinhouse. So here's some of the topics we'll be discussing today. Ooh, the Dow dropped 323 points. Oh my goodness. Today, as jobs data disappointed, Robinhood stock trading was halted. We've been talking about that a lot. Has the eviction moratorium been extended? Citi sees a correction sees a correction coming. New York cancels its auto show. We have notable earnings, and some of my favorite stock picks will be coming up. All right, so let's talk a little bit about job data. So ADP is a private payroll company. I'm sure some of you guys know that. Many of you guys even have probably ADP as your payroll company. So they track how many people were hired based on how many people were added to their payroll company to do their payroll. So the payroll survey showed a gain of 330,000 jobs for July, but the consensus estimated 653,000. So that's a pretty big difference. The Labor Department's official jobs report will actually be on Friday, so it's not necessarily the official number, but it usually is a good indication. Now let's talk about what the jobs report means. Of course, if there's a lot, and it's funny because it goes both ways. If there's a really good jobs report, like there's a whole bunch of jobs that were created and people started working again and blah, 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 you would think that that would make the economy rock and that would make things great. But what also happens a little bit is inflation. So sometimes inflation will actually, people get the fear of inflation because so many people are working and making money. It always makes me laugh how the stock market thinks. So that would be one problem that may happen, where you're going to have an inflation problem or a fear of inflation problem. The other one is, of course, if the jobs data is low, then normally, people say, oh, there are no jobs are going down. Maybe the economy's not that good, so the stock market's going to go down. So here's the weird part. If a normal jobs data says that the jobs are going up, or a normal jobs data says that jobs are going down, the stock market goes down no matter what. That's kind of common. However, this time it's still bizarre because we still have the whole COVID effect. And the whole COVID effect is, is it temporary because we have $300 bonuses that we're giving to unemployed people, or is it because, people are out of work because of COVID? So it's still confusing to most stock traders, most fund managers, and that's why it may just be completely ignored. But on Friday, watch for it, watch the stock market, watch to see what happens. And it may be completely ignored, or it may actually, my prediction, usually no matter what, if it's a really good jobs report or if it's a really bad jobs report, the stock market goes down. There are times where the fund managers just ignore it because of so many other things going on. All right, let's talk about my new favorite stock. I think I've mentioned this stock every single day for the last, 5 or 6 days. Robinhood stock. Now, I bought some, and I'm really glad I did because I made out very, very well. I actually doubled my money on my Robinhood play. I bought it at 36 last week. I sold it today at 72, and it actually peaked at 85. Wow, I was blown away. It's one of those things where, you sell a stock at 72, and you're like, oh man, I should have waited till it was 85. Of course not. I mean, nobody ever went broke taking 100% profit. So that was actually great that I was able to take 100% profit on this. But I decided to get out because I thought, and honestly, I was sitting here eating breakfast, and I looked and I saw the stock was at 65, and I actually just put a sell order in at 72, thinking, if it happens, great. And not only did it happen, it blew right through it, which was wild. But the reality is, for a stock like this to hit 85 from 36 a week ago or 5 days ago, it's not normal. So here's the funniest part. You have to remember that there are those meme stocks that are being manipulated by guess what app? The Robinhood app. How funny is that? So most of the meme stocks, the stocks that I don't know if you want to call them the amateurs are trading on their Robinhood app, right? They manipulate the stocks. We saw this with AMC. We saw this with Beyond Meat. We saw this with, of course, GameStop. And Robinhood, well, why wouldn't Robinhood be one of the Robinhood stocks? It makes total sense. So the fact that it's going up like that and doing this is going to make total sense. So that's what happened. Robinhood was completely manipulated, and that's why it went up like that. Now, I got the benefit of it. I grabbed the money. I ran. What do I think Robinhood's going to happen? Now, here's my prediction for Robinhood, which is really interesting. My prediction for Robinhood is this thing's going to hit 150, maybe even 200 soon. I don't necessarily think you should play it, though, because it's going to be a manipulated stock, and you may get in and out too fast, or I'm sorry, not fast enough, and you're going to be hurt. Now, I do have an alert set on my phone for it to be below 50. So if it goes below 50, I'm going to look at it. Doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to buy it, but if it goes below 50, I'm going to look at it. Because remember, I sold it at 72, so if I pick it back up at 50, I'm way ahead. I just want to wait for it. Now, if it goes way into the 150, 200, I didn't get it, so what? I still made 100% of my money. It doesn't really matter. You know, some of the things that affected it, you know, we talked about this yesterday. We talked about ARK Investments taking a big stake, and that's great, but I don't think that's it. I think it's all about the Robinhood stocks. Oh yeah, and then I meant to tell you too, it was halted today. So trading was halted today. It's funny because, you know, as one of the instructors at Investor Schooling, I get a bunch of people texting me and saying, "Hey, what happened? I can't sell my Robinhood stock. It won't let me sell. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" And I had to explain to them that the trading was halted. So usually what happens when stocks get halted is the reason they get halted is because of unusual volume or just craziness. And in this case, it was both. It was unusual volume, it was craziness. And we saw this before. We've seen this like with other stocks. We also saw it last year during COVID, where they halted stock trading completely. They actually shut the entire market down for 20 minutes. So just so you know, halting of a stock could go for up to an hour. So it was halted, and they just wanted people to calm down. And also the other thing that happens is you got electronic trading, so they wanted to stop the electronic trading, and that's basically why it was halted. And then it settled. I think it settled right around 70 today, right under 70 is where it is in trading after market right now, according to this chart that we have up right now. All right, let's do this. We're going to go to a commercial right now, and then we're going to come back and talk about the eviction moratorium.
Okay, so you've thought about investing in real estate, houses, apartment buildings, properties, but don't really know where to start? Well, what if you could very easily learn how to gain strategies to use other people's money to buy and sell houses in the Philadelphia area? If you could learn and network with successful area real estate investors and how to produce monthly income on rental properties without headaches, that place is Investor Schooling. With Investor Schooling, you'll learn from two Philadelphia area rockstar real estate investors, Phil Falcone and Larry Steinhouse, about how to buy and sell properties the easy way and teach you basic and advanced techniques to help you make money in real estate. You can attend Investor Schooling in person or online visual classes 8 times a month. You can and will learn how to make money in real estate. Call for free information and get a complimentary pass to one of these classes. But don't delay, as these complimentary passes are limited. Call the number on your screen now or visit investorschooling.com. investorschooling.com.
All right, welcome back to Money Chat Now. I'm your host, Larry Steinhouse. We are brought to you by Investor Schooling. Of course, you can take a complimentary class this Thursday by going to investorschooling.com. And so far, we've talked a little bit about the Dow dropping 323 points as the job data disappointed Wall Street. Although I don't actually believe that, just so you know. I actually think the Dow dropped just because it had been on fire for a little while, so it needed to drop. But that's a different story, but at the same time, jobs data didn't look good. We also talked about the fact that Robinhood stock was trading and was halted, and it hit 85 today. Wow, that's just incredible. And we also talked about the fact that Robinhood stock might skyrocket to the moon just because it's a meme stock. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the eviction moratorium and has it been extended. So the other day we talked about the fact that the CDC, I don't know how the CDC has the authority to make an eviction moratorium and not make an eviction moratorium. And you know, this is definitely an overreach, a government overreach problem. So let's just talk about what happened, and then I'm going to talk about the fact that I think it's a government overreach problem. So the CDC director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, today signed an order determining the evictions of tenants for failure to make rent or housing payments could be detrimental to public health control measures to slow the spread of COVID. That's what they did. They're not saying, hey, we don't want to throw people out because they can't afford to pay their rent. We don't want to throw people out because if people get thrown out, they may spread COVID. That's how they did it. That's what they used to do it. Now, frankly, that's just not right. That's not fair. It's not what's going on right now. It's not the way to do it. I mean, you want to have an eviction moratorium because you're afraid people are out of work and at least be honest about it. And that's basically why I have a big problem with this. I just want to let you know this order will expire on October 3rd and applies to United States counties experience substantial and high levels of community transmission levels of COVID. The new order covers renters in areas experience substantial and high levels of coronavirus cases. Now, this is another thing that's vague as usual, right? If your county has a high level of coronavirus cases, then and only then are you extended to October 3rd. In other words, you could be evicted now if your county doesn't have a high level of coronavirus cases. What does one thing have to do with the other? I mean, obviously, if you're going to go by the way they figured it out, then that's the reality. Is hey, you know, if we throw tenants out on the street, they may spread COVID. Wow, but that's what they're doing. Now, here's the other problem. You'll lose the protection if your county has 14 consecutive days that fall below these levels, said Emily Benfer, a visiting law professor at Wake Forest University. So basically, if COVID cases drop, then you can be evicted. So I'd like to see the judge or the landlord or the lawyer who has to actually sit there and look at the numbers to see if the numbers fit the eviction moratorium or don't fit the eviction moratorium, what county you're in, what day it is, has it been 14 days, is it only 13 days, can you file the day before the 14th? I don't know. So this is not great stuff. This is actually just more blah, 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 blah. You can't evict me, I'm a tenant, ha, 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 I'm gonna stay here. And that's why it's happening. That's exactly why it's happening. And of course, as you know, we talked about this yesterday. Oh, by the way, you know, I had something else I thought about this too. If you can only be prevented from being evicted if you make less than $100,000. Think about that one too. So if you make it $120,000 and your company shut down because of COVID, you can be evicted because you used to make $120,000. But if you made $60,000 and your company got shut down, you can't be evicted. What? Huh? All right, whatever. All right, you also have to attest that you've experienced a financial hardship during coronavirus pandemic and you've applied for rental assistance and the eviction could lead you to becoming homeless or needing to double up with others. This just gets more and more vague as I read it. I just want you to know, I saw it, that's what it is, and it's kind of sickening. All right, I also want to mention that Citi sees a correction coming. Yeah, boy, that's hard to say. Citi sees a correction coming. So stocks are hovering around record highs amid strong second quarter earnings, but Citi believes the market is vulnerable to a 10% correction thanks to novice investors piling into speculative technology names like Robinhood. So the people who are on Robinhood app, making the Robinhood app go crazy, they're saying that because of them, there's going to be a 10% correction. Now, I want you to understand that corrections aren't what we think they are. Corrections don't mean that you know the world comes to an end. You know, that would be a recession or a depression, and we saw what that looked like, although it wasn't either a recession or a depression. We saw what that looked like last year during COVID, but it's not. It's just a correction. So you see stocks go down, and guess what? Then they go back up again. So corrections are actually really good for especially stock options traders who wait, who have patience. If you have patience and there's a correction, you do very, very well with that if you pay attention to it. You know, the difference between a correction and a bear market is very different. A correction is, hey, you know, we just dropped 1,000 points, but we'll just bring it right back up in probably 2 or 3 weeks. A bear market stays with us for a long time. So a bear market says that the stock's going down, and then they're going down again, and then they're going down again, and then they're going down again, and going down again, and going down again, and going down again. Now, one thing that people don't understand is the average bear market lasts about 3 months to 6 months. The worst bear markets last about a year. So if you're in the stock market and you have stocks and you're worried because it's a bear market, don't panic. especially if you were in it for the long term. If you're in it for stock options, you're going to have opportunities on the way down. You're going to have opportunities on the way up. So it's not a bad thing to have. So it's fine. Just don't get concerned about, again, them saying that a 10% correction is very plausible. Such a dip would bring the S&P 500 to around 4,000, which is the firm's year-end target for benchmark index. So Citi is saying that the S&P will probably end up at about 4,000. Yeah, okay, maybe not. It may be a problem. It may not be a problem. I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is the fact that New York City canceled the auto show. Again, this COVID nonsense just has to stop. It just has to stop. If you want to go to the auto show, go to the auto show. You don't want to go to the auto show, don't go to the auto show. You want to wear a mask in the auto show, wear a mask. You want to be vaccinated, be vaccinated. You don't want to be vaccinated, don't be vaccinated. It doesnn't matter. But because of Mayor de Blasio, he basically said that you can't have a public gathering unless you're vaccinated. So now the auto show is saying, well, we can't control the people who are coming. The auto show says we are adults, where de Blasio says you're children. And the auto show is basically saying we can't control the people who are coming, and we have to cancel this because we just don't know. It was supposed to be on August 20th, and I used to like to go to the auto shows. I like to see the new cars. I like to see the new technology. I got to sit in a Corvette, the new Corvette at the auto show. It's just a great place to go to and see what new technology is out there. All right. We're gonna go take a break. Actually, you know what? Before you take a break, I want to talk to you about something that's kind of cool. I want to talk to you about the fact that if you heard Phil and I on our radio show, Phil Falcone and I, we are the founders of Investor Schooling. We had talked about on the radio. We talked about something really cool that we're going to give away Phil's BMW. We're going to give away his BMW Z4 that's wrapped in I-Buy houses. And we talked about it on the radio, and we decided to put it together. And actually, I'd like to run a little promo for it. And if you want to go to winphilscar.com, you can enter. So check this out.
Hey, if you were listening to Investor Schooling Live today, I'm Phil Falcone, and I made the decision today on air that I'm going to be giving away this car. You want to take a look at it? Let's do it. How would you like to pop your top without ever getting out of the car? Huh? It's pretty cool. You can do it at a red light. You can do it when you see it rainy. You can actually even do it when you're driving, as long as you don't go maybe faster than 10 miles an hour. So I am giving away this car. Why? Is it because I'm crazy? Is it because I'm rich? Is it because of both? Take your pick. I don't care. Let me tell you about the car. We're going to have a contest. We're looking for real estate investors to go to our website and give us a real estate tip. And you can have people that you know vote on the site about which real estate tip is the most quality, most valuable to them. So let's just say that our contest is going to be looking for quality real estate tips and for votes. So you need to get your friends, your family, people who care about you, and real estate investors who are willing to go on the site and vote for it. And I will give you this car.
All right, welcome back to Money Chat Now. I am Larry Steinhouse, and I'm your host, and we are brought to you by Investor Schooling. And feel free to take a complimentary class this Thursday at investorschooling.com, and you can learn all about stock options and learn about stock options trading and real estate. All right, I want to talk about some really quick notable earnings. One is Etsy, E-T-S-Y. Wow, this was a disappointment, apparently. That I can only tell I haven't seen the earnings report yet, but I did see that after hours they announced earnings and they dropped 27, almost 28 points after earnings. So I don't know exactly what happened. I didn't see the actual earnings report, but I know that that's a big disappointment for Etsy. Etsy being a company that lets you sell stuff on the internet, and I'm shocked, but I have not been able. I have the numbers, so my apologies. I can't see it. But the cool part is, again, that it's dropped 27, 28 points. Watch this. This may be a buying opportunity in the future. Of course, we had Uber, and let's see if what Uber's earnings were. If Uber's, I don't know if Uber announced their earnings yet. Usually you get a nice ticker of these, and I have not seen the ticker, so I don't know what it is. But again, Uber had their earnings today after market close. I don't know if they beat it or not, but here we go. They're down about 2 points after earnings. My guess is that's a nothing. That means they haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it yet, but we're going to see it when it comes up. I will let you know. And let's talk about some of my picks this week, because I think it's time for us to talk about it. All right, so first of all, Alibaba, one of my favorite picks. You know, I do need to let you know that, in fact, Deutsche Bank reiterated the fact that Alibaba is a buy. So I'm telling you that not only I think it's a buy, but Deutsche Bank is saying that it's a buy too. Now, I sold a little bit of my position today because I was up about 30-40% of my stock options on Alibaba. And remember, Alibaba, the big problem with Alibaba is the fact, of course, that it's one of the Chinese stocks that's being overregulated by China, because China doesn't want people making money, as we talked about yesterday. But it's fine. I think it'll be a great thing. Don't worry about it. We also talked about, yesterday we talked about, what was the other one? Well, we talked about, let's talk about American Airlines real quick. So we have it. American Airlines, another one of my favorites. Now, American Airlines dropped another 50 cents today. It still didn't hit my range, my buy range. I'd like to see it between 18 and 19 as a buy, and I would buy more. But, you know, I've got plenty of it. I actually have an option out until February, I believe it is, and I'm not at all worried about this, but I wouldn't mind adding to it. Another one would be CCL, of course, and CCL is the Carnival Cruise Lines. Same thing. It dropped about 50 cents today, and I'd like to see that. Go down just a little bit more, and if it doesn't, that's fine with me. I'm okay. JNUG, oh, listen to this. JNUG actually did something wild today. JNUG is one of my stocks that I follow. I actually had a really bad play on this in the beginning of the year, but I'm watching it now, and JNUG is a stock that is not. It's not really bad. It was actually up about 3 or 4 points today. It popped over 80, and then it fell back. And then, of course, one of my other favorites that's already up there is Apple. Apple is going to kill it. Just wait for it, though. I'd like to see Apple 142, 140, and if it happens, I am good. I'm going to go into it. I like it a lot. And then we have my other favorite, of course, is Coinbase, and I missed it. I would have liked to see Coinbase happen, but Coinbase happened so fast that I didn't get to be in it. Somebody asked me today. They asked me today about Disney. Let's talk about Disney real quick, and then we're gonna. That's the last thing we're gonna talk about is Disney. So Disney is a stock. Of course, we all know what Disney does, right? Disney basically runs the world and controls everything. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. I hope they don't come and get me. So Disney obviously has the theme parks. They control a bunch of media. They control movies. They control the way people think. They control the way people think. They control the way people think. I'm sorry. And their stock is around 170, I believe it is right now. I can't even see the screen. So it's about 170, 172 right now. And I'd like to see it below 165 probably before I jump in. But I think there's a good play here. I think Disney has a good future. All right. I want to thank you guys all for watching, of course. I want to thank you for watching Money Chat Now. And, of course, from time to time, I own some of the assets and options discussed in the show. The opinions discussed in the show are solely mine, and no one has asked me to discuss them. I want to thank you again for watching Money Chat Now. Of course, we are brought to you by Investor Schooling. You can go take a complimentary class at investorschooling.com. And please like and share this video. We'd like to get this out. There's a lot of great information, so please like and share. I will see you tomorrow.